50 years ago, about 1 billion people were going hungry. In response, scientists, policymakers, and farmers initiated a push to boost agricultural production and productivity. As a result, the global availability of food increased, access to food was improved, and the quality of food was enhanced, all important ingredients for better food security. Today, 1 billion people go hungry every day. This is a tragedy, yet it also represents an astounding success. We have added 3 billion people to the world's population during the past 50 years, and over 5 billion people are food secure today. This success in feeding billions of people tends to be overshadowed by the gloom and doom surrounding agricultural development today. What I would like to do is to share with you key lessons from agricultural successes over the past 50 years. In late 2008, we at the International Food Policy Research Institute, with support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, embarked on a project called Millions Fed: Proven Successes in Agricultural Development, to identify and to assess interventions in agricultural development that substantially reduced hunger and poverty. Following a rigorous review process, we identified 20 proven successes in agricultural development around the world that have substantially reduced hunger. I'd like you to take a look at this global map. You will see that the successes are global, they are regional, and they are national in scope. 2 of these successes are global in nature: the effort to contain wheat rusts and the effort to eradicate rinderpest. 12 of the successes are in Asia, among them the very well-known Green Revolution and the land tenure reforms in China and Vietnam, as well as Operation Flood in India. The not-so-well-known stories pertain to homestead food production in Bangladesh or community forestry in Nepal. Africa is home to 5 of these successes. The one on combating cassava mealybug is of course very well known, but other successes include regreening of parts of the Sahel through farmer-led innovations. In South America, successes in small-scale agricultural development include zero-tillage soybean cultivation in Argentina. These successes are diverse in nature and they span different pathways. Let me walk you through these pathways of successes. There are 6 of them. First, the early interventions focused on intensifying staple food production. Success stories here include the international collaboration to contain wheat rust that ensure the food security of the 60 to 120 million rural households around the world. By the 1970s, concerns about the consequences of rapid agricultural development encouraged a move to environmentally sustainable practices. The second pathway of integrating people and the environment includes examples of successes such as the farmer-led innovation in Burkina Faso and Niger in Africa that improved food security for 3 million people. In the 1980s, a shift to more market-driven development took place in many countries. In Bangladesh, market liberalization for irrigation equipment stimulated the rapid development of rice farming, benefiting 22 million people per year. Fourth pathway is that of diversifying out of major cereals. The emphasis on markets also opened up new opportunities for diversifying out of staple crops into legumes, fruits, vegetables, livestock, and dairy. Operation Flood in India helped integrate small-scale farmers into the national dairy industry, benefiting many millions of people. Economic policy reforms have contributed significantly to transforming the agricultural sector and the broader economy within which agriculture operates. The most dramatic example of success here is that of China, which undertook a series of reforms that returned more than 95% of its farmland to 160 million households. Finally, a success story in the area of improving food quality and human nutrition is that of homestead food production in Bangladesh, which has improved the food security of some 5 million people. I hope that I've given you a flavor of the range and the diversity of agricultural development successes around the world. They're not confined to any one part of the world, and they're not confined to simply increasing agricultural production. They walk across through the whole agriculture value chain, and they impact on many countries and regions around the world. What were the key success factors and forces that brought about these successes? Let me mention or highlight 4 of them. First, science and technology. The critical role of long-term investment in science and technology is a key feature across many of these successes. We see it across the developing world. We see it across major food crops such as rice, wheat, maize. We see it across the lesser-known crops such as millet, sorghum, mung bean, and we see it across livestock and fisheries. Essentially, sustained and significant public investment in agricultural research is vital. Second, complementary investments. Long-term investment in the building blocks of agricultural development is a necessary condition for success. This is evident in every success story, from the Green Revolution case with building and improving irrigation systems, to the zero tillage case in Argentina with providing extension and education services to farmers. Conversely, the absence of sustained investments in infrastructure in several Eastern and Southern African countries stalled the agricultural productivity gains that had been made with the introduction of improved maize. Essentially, to improve the chances that science and technology will make a real contribution to improving food security, sustained and significant public investment in rural roads, market infrastructure, education, regulatory systems, and the like are necessary. Third, private incentives. Even with the sustained investments in science, technology, and complementary investments, little can be achieved without the right incentives. China demonstrated this with a return to household farming, where a change in the incentives encouraged farmers to invest in their land productivity and to grow more food. Kenya demonstrated this by loosening state controls over fertilizer and maize markets, thus dramatically reducing the costs for smallholder farmers to purchase inputs. Essentially, by putting policies in place that encourage farmers and entrepreneurs to invest in agriculture, the likelihood of success in agricultural development increases. The fourth factor and final factor that I would like to highlight is that of cooperation and collaboration. Partnerships among diverse actors in the agricultural sector, such as research institutes, community-based organizations, government agents, the national and international agencies and donors, are all a factor of success. Examples of successful partnerships here include the scientific collaborations that went into developing improved tilapia in Asia, the grassroots level initiatives to improve forestry management in Nepal, and the public-private partnerships that brought about improved sorghum and millet hybrids to Indian farmers. What can we learn from these successes? Let me highlight 2 of them. First, success is not unambiguous. By that we mean that many successes were often accompanied by some type of a trade-off. Increases in agricultural production may have serious environmental consequences, as has been noted with the Green Revolution in Asia. Scarce public resources allocated to agriculture may divert resources from other sectors of the economy. For example, the Burkina Faso cotton success is criticized by some for the significant public resources needed to sustain the reform process. In Nepal, the difficulties in extending the benefits from community forestry management to the most underrepresented social groups is a source of concern. Many successes are a mix of pros and cons, and this means that success in agricultural development requires careful consideration of difficult trade-offs. But the repercussions of failing to invest in agricultural development are very clear: continued and persistent hunger. Another lesson I would like to highlight is that of success is not a substitute for strategy. In other words, one scientific breakthrough or one policy correction does not make for a strategy. We need to invest in the supportive environment in the supportive policies, in the enabling investments that will allow for a comprehensive approach to raising agricultural productivity, to increasing incomes, and to reducing poverty, all of which will allow successes to emerge, multiply, replicate. Looking to the future, more successes are needed. Hunger remains persistent. 1 billion people go hungry today, as I mentioned at the beginning. New stresses are being added to the world's food and agricultural systems, looming climate change, global market volatility, and continued population growth and migration and aging populations. The need to invest in agriculture remains as urgent and important as ever before. Keeping food security and agriculture high on the global agenda requires that we reinvigorate the desire to invest in agriculture, and we empower those who are willing to take the risk of investing in agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, it pays to invest in agricultural development. We can significantly reduce hunger. Thank you.